Just got back from my first long trip on this thing. I built me a bracket for it just to get there and back. I had more stuff on it than this. This little bag has worked out great, but I had a cooler that I had strapped up to here, and then my laptop bag here, and I bought these nets from Walmart, and I was able to kind of net everything together. But this thing is awesome. I love this bike. Now, a couple of things. I had the Africa Twin before it. This thing obviously don't have the power of the Africa Twin. But I've got my cell phone holder here, got a power adapter down here, TPMS here, and I added heated grips. I bought heated grips for it. They're the Honda OEMs. On my trip, I just rode by, and they had them in stock at a Honda dealership, so I grabbed those. And then I've added these lights here. So the lights that are on it suck. I mean, they're not good. They're not really useful, honestly, at night. So I added these. These are actually really bright. It at least triples the brightness of the lighting. And this kit was plug and play. It had everything you need to get it going. It plugs into there's a port under here that it plugs into, supplies your power, and you've got a switch here, and it only comes on when the key's on. So that gives you lights or extra lighting. Now what I want to do is use my high beams to trigger those lights instead of this switch. So I'm probably going to keep the switch and make it an enable and disable so I can turn those on and off if I want to. But essentially I'm going to tie into the two wires that give it power and figure out what connector the high beam connector is, and see if I can get a male and female and make a little adapter that has a signal wire that has a relay to where essentially when you flip the high beams on, it triggers the relay, so it's not pulling off the high beams. It trips the relay that will supply power to those lights. And then this will just cut the power completely off to the relay. So essentially it won't work if that's off. So you would just then leave them on if you wanted them to work with your high beams. So now I went on a 4 or 5 hour trip. I was on my motorcycle today from 7 a.m. to, I don't remember, 2 or 3 o'clock. This thing, I got this on Amazon, and it was fantastic. This is like sitting on a cloud compared to this seat. So for a long trip, you can see that it's not completely full. It's just got a air where it sort of redistributes. It keeps your butt livable. You know, if you drive even in a truck or a car, if I take a 5 hour trip, my butt's sore at the end of it. But this thing made it where I could take a 5 hour trip on this, and it's about the same as being in a car. Your butt's still sore, but it meant I can ride for an hour before it's like, need to kind of reposition. Where without this, in 5 minutes, it's like, man, I'm trying to find a comfortable place on that seat. So that is worth every dime. It was $40 on Amazon. It's a knockoff of another one, but for $40, I'll take it all day long. This kit for the lights was $89. It's sort of like a kit that you can get for $500 that does actually work with the high beams. But this kit, I've actually still got to aim them. I've just got them on there. I'm also going to weld the studs, tack the studs on the insides here. They're just bolts. It's an Allen bolt. Well, you can't get a freaking Allen head to that to tighten them down if you want to adjust. So I'm going to tack it here to where the only nut you've got is this one. And I've got to put washers on there as well. I just hadn't done it yet. But I'm going to do that. And what I considered doing is coming off of these same studs with a bracket that comes up and out and you've got one more light right here in the center. These are sort of a flood / spotlight. I thought about even taking these off and changing them to something a little bit different. Putting like a spot on one and a flood on the other, or leaving these two as floodlights and aiming them out a little bit to the side. And then right here, putting more of a spotlight that gives me more distance. So that would give you, deer in the field beside you and better visibility way in front of you. So I did drop it. You can see where it hit the gravel at my dad's house. He's got a covered porch that we would drive it up on. He's got a ramp, but then getting it down is interesting. So it was interesting. Let me just leave it at that. So I kind of scratched it up a little bit. But this bike, I got it last Friday, and it has 1,600 miles on it now. So from 0 or 1, I think it had 1 on it when I got it. I've also got some of these coming that are aftermarket ones. I bought some for my dad because he broke his. He dropped his bike too and actually broke the brake lever. But I've got some aftermarket ones coming that will replace these. They're actually black, which to me is going to look better. They fold here, so if you were to drop them, this just folds up out of the way. And this selector here that allows you to change the setting on your lever, this one has it, and it's handy because it gets it closer to your hands. But the other one is a lever, and I like the way it works better, and it's black, so it'll actually match the rest of this a little bit better. So I'll be changing that out as soon as that gets here, probably in the next week or so. Just because, we looked at the OEM ones for my dad, and it was going to be like $97 for just the one brake lever, and for both brake and clutch levers, and it made them black, which matches everything here. It's like $32 on Amazon. They're made well. I was really impressed. So I'm actually going to take these off. And I saw Itchy Boots has extra levers like this. So she actually orders extra levers and then zip ties them on the frame somewhere on the bike, to where if you ever do break them, you have the extra lever somewhere. So these will become my spares, and the ones that I'm buying will be the main ones. I'm also going to buy one of those and one of these at some point, maybe. Honestly, that's steel, that'll bend. I've seen these that are aluminum and they'll break, but because that's steel, you can just bend them back. So I'm not really as worried about those. But I have my full endorsement now, so I can actually carry a passenger. So I'm going to try to find a helmet that I can keep on the bike for anybody that wants to ride with me. But yeah, this bike, I would take it over the Africa Twin. Not saying that if somebody gave me an Africa Twin, I would definitely ride an Africa Twin too. But if I'm going to have one bike, and when I bought this one, I was looking at the CB500X, which would have been a lot cheaper in all reality to buy. And I was looking at the KLR 650. And I was also looking at the Varies 300, I think. Just because all of those were way cheaper in all reality. That was the biggest thing about those, is they were a lot cheaper. But I'm glad I bought this one. If I had to pick one bike and I only had one bike, this is the bike I'd pick. It's the sweet spot for everything. In traffic, I can bebop around no problem. I had this loaded down. Gobs of weight on the back, plus me, and I'm 210. And, I could accelerate to 95 without any real issue. It would do it no problem. It's a Honda, dead nuts reliable. You just can't beat it. Now, couple of things that I don't like. I don't want to switch it on because its app will kill my phone or with the camera thing. But this thing has got rider modes. I also added this windshield. And I've got brackets coming to actually make this a little taller. My dad bought one. It's a Givey, and it is that much taller. Only thing about it is this one's lower and my line of sight's up here. His is in my line of sight, so if you get bugs and crap on it, that's in your line of sight. I don't really like that. Where this one, with the bracket that I've got coming, you'll be able to actually pick it up, and you know, if I wanted to, I could make it a little higher, but you know, I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to try that bracket first. But either way, back to the rider modes. This thing has sport, gravel, rain, standard, and user mode. And all of these modes are fine. The gravel mode is useless in gravel. It's ridiculous. The traction control, and I've heard people say that traction control is good. I have never seen where it's helped me. Not one time. Every single time traction control is turned on, it's been a pain in my butt. Now, you know, when I ride like in gravel, if I turn the traction control off, I can ride right up it. I might spin a little bit, but it's fine. It'll ride right up the gravel. It's easy. My dad and I went on like a 20-mile gravel road. And for the first 5 miles, I put it in gravel mode, and it sucked. I mean, flat out sucked. When you were riding, it was constantly jerking you back and forth because it would start to spin, it cut the power to the engine, and you jerk forward. And then it would cut back on, and you're just constantly doing this. It wore me out in 5 minutes. So I pulled over and went to user mode, and you could disable your ABS and all that if you wanted to, but I just wanted traction control. So I went to turn off traction control. Took me a while to figure out how to do it. I finally got it done, and I rode for a minute, and it was awesome. And then I turned the key off, and then I turned it back on, and it was back on. It makes no sense to me why in the world Honda takes that the way they did it. If nothing else, give us a administrator mode or something where we are taking all responsibility or whatever, where you can type in a password and then make those what you want them to be. Every time you get on this thing, if you're going to go on gravel, you have to turn that back on, and it takes, you know, a few minutes to do it. It's annoying. My Africa Twin, it had a button sort of like this. You'd hold that down, and it was off. It was a 2016. So that is the one biggest gripe I have with this. For what it is, it's still a fantastic motorcycle. I love it. The heated grips were awesome this morning. I went from the mountains to where I'm at now in Charlotte. And in the mountains, I was cold. I was so cold. But these heated grips were kind of nice, and they're integrated into the system, so you just hit that button and you can turn them up and down here. So that was really nice. I replaced this. I got some earbuds at Walmart, and they came with this little teeny tiny wire, and it's the perfect length to go up to my phone. So that was kind of cool. Let's see, what else? That would be the biggest gripe. The little road sync app that they give you is pretty cumbersome. It works. It's better than nothing, but it's not much better than nothing. I do like the fact that I can control my music with this. Doing everything through that, that's pretty handy, but they could improve on that program substantially. But again, I'm not complaining. I'd rather have it than not. It's just kind of a crappy interface, and everything about it kind of sucks. So, but better than nothing again. So, I'm still happy that it was there. Happy that it's integrated into the bike. But again, with this bike, the Africa Twin was an awesome bike. I do miss the power to some degree. It was like a stinking rocket, but this one does everything I want to do. Now, if I were 400 pounds, maybe not. If I were 400 pounds and my wife was 400 pounds, or if I'm 200 and she's 200, you'd want that Africa Twin. You'd want the power of it. But this bike, for me. Honestly, I'm probably not going to carry a passenger on a regular basis. It is awesome. It's fantastic. I'm going to change this up some. This was just, I had literally one night to prepare to get out there. And I knew I was going to have a lot of stuff, so I just made this little bracket here that sort of shaped to fit this, where I had been putting it in the passenger seat and strapping it down with this, and that worked. I knew that I needed, it was basically at my back when I had it strapped there. So I wanted to set it back, set my laptop bag here, and any other extras that I needed. So I had it from here all the way to here on the way back home. So, I had my rain suit, I had my laptop bag, I had bags of clothes and trash bags that, I'd used nets to hold on there. And it worked out pretty well. Now, I did have to re-weld. You can see where I tabbed it with a plasma table. Normally, what I'd do is weld these holes in, and it would make it solid. I just didn't have time for it, and obviously I ran out of black spray paint too. So I just used what was on hand. I just needed something to get me there. What I'm probably going to do is make another one with a return here to hold this bag from pushing forward. And I'm probably going to, when I make my return here, I'm going to come out to here where I can use my straps to come down to that. So it'll have a hole here, a hole there for these two straps. And then back here, I'm going to shorten it. So it'll be shorter, but I'm also going to make it where it'll have a plate that'll slide under it and slide out. So if I wanted extra room, I could slide it out and I could set extra stuff up here. But essentially what I'm trying to do is just hold this bag. 99.9% of the time, that's all I need. So I'm going to make something that sort of does that. This was just a quick and dirty, had to get there, and it did the job. So it also gives me something to compare. So I can take this, I can sketch, take a Sharpie and write on it and say, I don't want this part, I want to come out here, I want to do this different. So I'm going to probably do some of that. And where this return is will be a separate plate that'll drop down, and you'll be able to slide it out to come out further by, say, 6 inches if you needed to. But yeah, fantastic bike. If you are on the fence on a transalp, and honestly, what I do is I ride 90% roads. I know it's an adventure bike, and part of that is, hey, I can go out and I can do off-road stuff, but that's not what this bike is for me. It's my road bike. I don't like 90% of the road bikes that I've sat on. I like this one. It feels like home when I sit on it. It's just right for me. I like how high up you're sitting. I realize there's some downsides to that, but it's a fun bike. I like the dirt bike type bikes better, and this is like a dirt bike on the road, kinda, I guess. For the road, it's fantastic. Love the bike. So if you're like me and you're 90% on the road, get this bike. It's fantastic. It's a great bike. I am still going to look for a used KLR 650, a used CB 500X, and a used Varies 300. I'll probably buy those. My daughter wants to ride one, and I'm probably going to let her learn on one of those smaller bikes like the CB 500. But I want something else to where if something happens to this one, I'll at least have a motorcycle to ride. And I also want one that's carbureted. I know a lot of people don't like that, but I prefer, it's like those KLRs. It's not going to do what this bike will do, but it'll go anywhere you want it to go. It's just going to go slower, and it's not going to have the acceleration and all that. And if you have some electronic crap go wrong on this, that KLR is just they're pretty bulletproof. So I was thinking an older KLR 650 that's carbureted, and an older CB 500 that's, a little bit less. The only thing I'm a little bit worried about with this one is it's got a lot of electronics and computer stuff. And to me, that's stuff that can go wrong. So this one's going to stay out of the rain as long as I can keep it out of the rain. It lives in that hole over there when I'm not riding it. So hopefully that'll keep the electronics fresh and keep it in good shape. But I still want another few bikes that I can do more with. And what I'm thinking is right here, I'm going to put a lean-to all the way across here. And this is where my bikes are going to get stored. So I can just drive in and then drive out, you know. So eventually that's going to be my motorcycle parking area. Or I might also put it back here like that lean-to over there. So either way, I love this bike. So I've never, I guess the thing is, everybody's asked me, you know, why why is this a big deal? And everything I've ever done has been work. Everything, all of my hobbies are work. Everything, I've just worked my tail off. This bike, well, motorcycles in general, I don't know what it is, but it's relaxing. I enjoy it, and it's the only thing that's just absolutely relaxing to me. So I realize there's a risk to it, but, you know, I was almost killed in 2 different car accidents before I got a motorcycle, and then I wrecked the other one. So there's a risk to life, and I'm not going to live in fear. I'm going to live my life, and if I die on a motorcycle, I know where I'm going. So you guys have a great day. Thanks for listening to my rambles, I guess. So have a good day. Bye.